Hello lovely people, in this video we're going to be looking at EZY DSP's Down4Sound limiter function. I'm going to tell you what it is used for and I'm going to show you how to actually use it. In this video, I will be using the Down4Sound EZY DSP 612. As you can see, it's right there. It's connected to the amplifier, and I want to use a slightly different amplifier, and I chose specifically this one in order for you to show how to use the limiter that is built into the DSP. Now, the problem is with the input and output voltage of amplifiers and DSPs. This Down4Sound DSP over there, via RCAs, it can give out 4 volts of output. Now, most amplifiers will take 4 volts in. This Down4Sound 810, it needs 6 volts in. All my old Alpines are going to take 4 volts in. However, some old school amplifiers can take only 2 volts in. So I'm going to show you right there. It says 0.1 up to 2 volts. So this amplifier can take only 2 volts in. If you're going to feed it more than 2 volts, you're going to clip the inputs and obviously then clip the outputs. So what we need to do is we need to limit the voltage from the DSP going into the amplifier. If your amplifier takes 4 volts, it's no to worry, just plug it in and you don't have to play with the limiter at all. However, for this one, so this is an old Philips Class AB amplifier. It's really old school. It's very similar to the Alpine 3.5 series. All the internals are kind of the same. It's a 4-channel amplifier, and I'm going to hook it up to my system. In order to do it safely, I need to limit the voltage that's going into the DSP. So what I did is I have one RCA unplugged, which goes into here, and what I have here is I have a multimeter, just to show you the volts RMS, and I have a small little scope, exactly the same that you can buy from eBay, AliExpress, or Amazon. It costs like 20-25 bucks. And I want to show you on this because everybody can afford it, and a lot of people have this scope. So I did identify the channel that I'm working with, so it's going to be channel number 9. So for this, in the DSP software, we disable all the crossovers, no EQ, no nothing. The master volume is at 0. On this amplifier that has a lower input voltage, the gains have to be all the way down, because the main thing, you'll be increasing the input on the RCAs rather than the gain. So the gain has to be all the way down. In the head unit, if you'll be able to see, I'm going to show you from closer. Sine tone, 1000 Hertz, 0 dBFS. So if you want some overlap, you can play -5 dBFS, but for this purpose, I'm playing 0. If I am going to enable the channel in the DSP, because now it's muted, if I'm going to enable this channel, then I have, you can see, 3.99 volts RMS, and on the scope, we can see that it's almost starting to clip. So the top of the wave, I zoomed in so you could see the top of the wave, and the top of the wave is slightly clipped. So first what we need to do is we need to bring this voltage down to 2 volts. So we can do this in a few different ways. We could play with a channel gain. If I'm gonna reduce the channel by like -10 dB, then the voltage is gonna go down 1.2. This is lower as well. However, that kind of messes up because I need to remember not to go over some limit of the channel gain. If by accident I'm gonna put like -2 dB, then it's gonna be 3 volts, and then I'm gonna be clipping this amplifier. So I need to make sure that whenever I have this channel on 0 dB, I would still have 2 volts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to options. I'm going to select the limiter, and here we have the limiter for each channel. So don't get scared because these units are not very familiar. In order to work with them, you can find online just a normal calculator. In Google, I just entered dBu into VRMS, and this is kind of transforms the units for you. So if I want 2 volts RMS, I enter this. I need to have dBu 8.2 dBu. So in here, I'm working on channel 9. However, this is going to be for 4 last channels. So it's going to be for channel 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I need to enter here 8.2. So channel 9, which is this one, let's enter 8.2, click, and I have 2 volts out. The sign is not going to be clipping, which is like expected. So now what I need to do, because I'm not sure if it's going to take exactly 2 volts, maybe 1.9 volts, maybe 2.2 volts. So I'm going to reduce it a little bit to like maybe 1.9 volts. So I'm going to go down to, let's say 7 dBu. That's going to give me 1.8 volts. Perfect. So now I have kind of a baseline where to start work from. So this scope now is connected to the RCAs. What I have to do now is plug the RCA into the amplifier, and with a scope, check the output, the speaker output out of the amplifier to see when it's gonna start clipping. So let me swap some wires and I'm gonna show you that. Okay, so now what I have is I plug the RCA in and I have the speaker output going into the multimeter and the scope. So the scope shows us a clean sine wave. Maybe it's already starting to clip, and I have 12 volts AC on the speaker outputs. So I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna increase this up to 8, because if you remember, we had 1.8 on the RCAs. So I'm going to try to bump it up to 2 volts and see if the amplifier starts to clip. So instead of 7, I'm going to put 8, enter. So we have 13 volts and it's not clipping yet. Let's try a bit more. So let's try 9 dBu. There we go. We have 15 volts. And it is already clipping. So now I know that I need to back up. So I'm gonna back up 1 dBu, which is back to 8, where we were. And I have a clean sine wave, and I have 13 volts RMS on the speaker outputs. So now I know that this is kinda good setup. I'm muting the channel, and I'm gonna put exactly the same 8 dBu for all the rest channels, so 8, 8, 8. So these last 4 channels, with channel gain all the way up, with the master volume down at 0, is gonna receive no more than 2 volts RMS, and I'm not gonna be clipping it. And basically this is how you set up an old school amplifier, and this is how you use the limiter function on your Down4Sound EZY DSP. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below, and thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.